those two, if it was anyone else, if it wasn't for those two, it probably would have been much, much, much worse. Now,
okay, time out. Rogue and I, at the very beginning of tonight's show, started off by talking about this, and I explained that I had watched the series with Gen Max, and he's like, yeah, don't believe it. I'm like, I know it's dramatized, and I know it's not 100% factual, but you can't deny what was reported.
All right.
Let me finish. But you can't deny what was reported about how all of the events played into it. It's like the Soviet Union puts it up to user error. It's like it's user error and faulty systems. He's like, no, there was according to Rogue, supposedly the Soviet Union reported that there was actually cracking and seepage of material at the bottom of the reactor. Like, that happened afterward. I know what you're talking about. It's called the elephant's foot. That's part of the meltdown after the fact, not before. They don't talk about that in the series. I had to find that out afterwards. So
now, what if you listen and read the Legasov tapes? It's basically Legasov's last message, and he basically covers everything that has happened. And it's basically down to exactly how it's happened. Now, the explosion was caused because of malpractice in the reactor and...
Yes, user error and faulty design. It wasn't the equipment, it was faulty design.
Now, it wasn't really a faulty design. Yes, it was caused because of the design of it. But if the reactor wasn't pushed that far, it would not have been an issue.
But it was because of human error and ego.
Yeah. Basically, what ended up happening, it was a steam explosion in the reactor. Oh, that's fine.
Do you want us to fuck off?
No, you guys can apply that. I'm just trying to...
You're just letting us know. Alright. No, so basically, it was a steam explosion that happened in the reactor. It wasn't a meltdown. It wasn't even, the meltdown happened afterwards.
Yes, and I agreed with Rogue. Yes, steam caused the lid of the reactor to explode.
Yeah,
what happened afterward was the chain reaction of heated graphite mixed with oxygen and the raw nuclear material, which is what caused the lid of the entire reactor, of the entire building, to explode and cause the seepage into the atmosphere.
Yeah, the seepage came after the explosion. That's, without a doubt, that's what happened. But the steam explosion is what caused the reactor to fail. Now, if, how can you say this? It's like the perfect disaster. Every domino had to fall into place for this to happen. They had all of the cooling, had all the control rods pulled out of the reactor. They had run the reactor so low it was creating xenon poisoning reaction. And then they tried to do a safety test where they shut the water flow off to the actual reactor.
Mm-hmm.
Because of those three things, the reaction was so low and they wasn't pumping cool water in it. When they put the rods back down into the reactor, the graphite tips that went in generated enough of a reaction to basically ignite the core back into reacting again, which boiled the rest of the water in the reactor off, which, if you know anything about steam engines, the one thing you don't want to do is run the water real low, because steam generates much faster and quicker with low water in the system. That's what caused the explosion. Now, if the pumps were still on, if they didn't run the reactor so long where it was creating xenon in the reactor,
That's
there
why
was an explosion when it happened.
That's why it takes longer to boil a big pot of water as opposed to a little pot of water.
Yeah. So if those factors weren't into place, if they didn't run that reactor so far down into the ground, the explosion wouldn't have happened. However, it was a risk because whenever you design a reactor and you find something that could potentially lead to a catastrophic failure, you want to fix it. The problem is the Soviets wanted to jump to that. They knew about the power spikes. And even Legasov knew. It created power spikes when the control rods are fully removed and then put back in. The power spikes for a little bit, for a brief moment. But they never thought it would cause the explosion. And like I said, it's proper chain of events. Now, I don't believe the Soviets' full story of events that played out. We'll never know truly what actually happened. But if you look at any documentary, if you look at all the stuff that's thrown out there, and you look at this movie, this series, all in all, it's a perfect dramatization of what happened.
The best that you can do is try to figure out the puzzle with the pieces that you've got.
Yeah. Legasov figured out what caused the reactor to fail.
Right. If you happen to have enough pieces, you might not need all of them in order to get enough of the picture to figure out the rest.
Yeah. And it's because of the Legasov tapes and being passed around in the scientific community of the Soviet Union as what finally forced the Soviet Union and the KGB to admit, yes, there was a design flaw in the reactor, and that's what they did fix all the reactors.
What's the matter, Jim?
Oh no, I finally got it to work. It's like, oh, thank God.
Nice.
I'm playing right now.
But yeah.
So if you guys want to watch my stream, go ahead.
Against all the evil that hell can conjure,
Yeah, I don't mind.
all
I'm
the
still
wickedness that mankind can produce,
I'll watch the series again this
we
weekend. It was that
will
good.
send unto them.
I mean, I don't.
Only you. Rip and
Yeah,
tear
I like
until
watching
it is done.
shows like that. I like watching documentaries and stuff like that. I mean, you watch.
The beginning of this is people send upon only you rip and tear until it's done, which is basically what you did.
Can't hold them off! I can hear them. Hold up! No! They're everywhere!
Casualties range in the billions.
Well, I've been sitting here watching the Fukushima stuff, the Chernobyl stuff. I've been watching all this stuff, man. Because when it comes to like nuclear power and stuff like that, it kind of fascinates me.
Pray that he
I mean, like, a couple of years ago, I was interested in like, plane failures.
Anyone, if you can hear me, if you're out there.
Before that, I mean, from a young age, I was into the Titanic stuff.
Attempting to acquire the Hell Priest signal.
Yeah.
9/11. Even though
Nearly
I
60% of our
I
planet
was
has been
old enough
consumed
to
by the invaders.
not experience it, but remember it.
But no, looking out for
We have the
myself
Hell
and
Priest
everything I've
signal
seen
locked
so
in.
far,
The target is marked.
the
signal
show,
will not hold for long.
For it is he,
it doesn't accurately.
man. For his
It gives you enough
army,
information to
they
get the very
fear
basics
the
of
mark
it,
of the beast.
but not
That-
a whole lot contradicts the actual account of what happened in
What happened in the reactor is what happened in the reactor. What happened in the control room is what happened in the control room. What happened in the trial is what happened in the trial. What happened to firefighters and patients. That's what happened to everything right there happened. Now there's a lot of things that there's a lot of things that's not true. Like the bridge of death. The scene of the people on the bridge and then they end up dying afterwards. That because the reports say, and unfortunately I go by reports because there's very few corroborating eyewitness testimony that corroborate that fact. The people on the bridge, the Soviet reports state they pretty much had that bridge barricaded off while the disaster was going on. So there is some factual inconsistencies of it, but for the main meat of it, of what happened, that is kind of what happened.
Point along the road so that nobody got closer while they're trying to put out the
that bridge was the only way in and out of Chernobyl. Of the house.
But this happened at the early I didn't believe that cleared off the bridge. Some point, maybe not on the bridge for very long, to observe what was going on as they got showered with the radioactive dust and ash.
Yeah.
So
and the way the wind was blown, according to currents and radiological surveys of basically tracking everything, it was blowing towards Pripyat. So that's where you get the red force, because there's a straight line from Chernobyl to Pripyat that was the force was killed. And technically, if it wasn't for that force, Pripyat would have got a much higher radiation dose. But no, everything that comes down to how that reactor failed, that's pretty much accurate as far as we can go.
From the control room workers with the line to eyewitnesses to corroborate like that's the best that you can do.
Yeah. And with the language barrier, I mean, best thing you can do is get the best interpretation, translation you can. It's not going to be perfect. But yeah, the actual core fuel rods, they didn't actually melt down until, I want to say, a couple weeks out, where they actually smothered. When they actually got the actual fire put out, that's when the meltdown started happening.
Whatever other materials they put what happens when you cover hot things? It just continues to cook.
Now, the speculation of cracked casing and reactor and stuff like that. The Soviets did everything that they could to cover it up, and that's actually the story that they gave in Vienna. That was actually the case that they what they stated in Vienna. Yeah, I know.
And thinking that to the test. Speculation. Which contributed to factors of itself.
Yeah. And technically, I mean, did the Titanic have a flaw? Yes. No, I mean, it's...
And it had two other sister ships.
Lusitania and the Britannic.
Yep.
See, the Lusitania ended up, it got into 2 or 3 different wrecks and crashes, but did not sink, I believe. I think the Lusitania was actually decommissioned. The Britannic was sunk by landmine, well, missile mine in the water. Don't know. They speculate it was a mine. So.
No, World War II.
Remains guarded.
No, it was from what they found so far, because they found evidence of mines in that area. No, they were speculating for the longest time it was a torpedo, but it wasn't, because at that time there was no reported U-boats in the area. Once they found that there was no U-boats in the area at that time. There was beforehand, but they found major evidence of mines being deployed in water.
The first Hell Priest has been terminated. The demonic consumption of Earth has been reduced by 36.8%. There are 2 Hell Priests remaining.
Purposes.
Yes, no, well,
And like I said, speculation.
they say that because the cylinder number 1 of propellers was wrong, but it's also been documented that they actually used one of the propellers off the Titanic onto the Lusitania, and the vice versa. When they finally got the new one, it was for the Lusitania, but they put it on the Titanic. So that's one of the speculations that they put on that one. As far as that's for speculation. Now, as far as like the ship itself, I mean, it's designed to stay afloat with so many compartments
10.
punctured 6.
10.
Well, first 5 buckets. It had 10 watertight bulkhead doors, but
No.
it can only stay afloat with 5 flooded.
No. Supposedly 10 if the first 10, 5 on each side.
No, it was not on each side. It's all across the ship, from starboard to
How many watertight compartments did the Titanic have? 16 watertight compartments.
16 from bow to stern, but it can only stay afloat with 4 or 5 flooded. No, 6 flooded. 7 they can't.
Supposedly 10,
No, it's 6. What? I guess. Can you level normally?
Do you play against other people?
Doesn't matter. I mean, you could.